Good morning, everybody. Palantir and Alex Karp just did the unthinkable. We'll talk about that in today's video. We'll talk about the overall market over the past few days. And we'll talk about the future of Palantir and whether it's too late now to start adding stock at $30 a pop, which is the current price of Palantir. So today's video is relevant whether you are an existing Palantir shareholder, a potential Palantir shareholder, or if you generally want an update on what's going on with the market, because we're going to cover that as well. Because believe it or not, Palantir is a part of the overall market, and the investment strategy that has to do with Palantir also applies to most of the other stocks out there as well. So a lot to do in today's video, a lot to talk about. Let's get to it. Absolutely insane. So yesterday, Palantir did 11.25% in a single day, and then in after hours, it added another 1.4%. Bring it all the way back from 24 just a few days ago to almost $30 a share, which is the 52-week high. So Palantir did a whole round trip from 24 back to 30 in just a couple of days. What happened? Monday, we started at 29, we ended up at 24, and now Friday, boom, we're back at 30 again, a 52-week high. And the whole swing here basically meant nothing for you if you're a long-term investor. In fact, you may have improved your cost basis by adding a few shares through dollar cost averaging. But if you bailed on this stock and if you panic sold on Monday, you just wiped out 20% of your investment in just a few days. Now, Palantir wasn't the only company recovering from the mayhem we've seen on Monday. The S&P 500 yesterday in a single day did 2.3%. The Nasdaq gave you 3%, and even the beaten down small caps, IWM, gave you 2.4%, all in a single day. So, first of all, what happened with Microsoft and Palantir that sent the stock all the way back to 30? Everybody talks about it, but nobody really understands the insanity of what just happened. Now, I'm going to start by asking a simple question. Who could have known that Microsoft is going to end up in the can't beat them, well, got to join them camp? Who could have known that Palantir is basically a monopoly? Who told you 4 years ago that this is going to happen? Well, the past few years, we heard people mock and ridicule my Palantir thesis, mock my $500 thumbnails, and call me an idiot and all sorts of other names. Now, the people who have said that have been basically reduced to nothing at this point since the stock is up again. But when the stock was $7 a pop, everybody were running their mouth. And I was saying, look, this is the next Microsoft. And I was saying this since 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and even in 2024. Now, what happened yesterday is kind of the first stop of the massive quantum leap that this company is about to make. And I want to explain something. Since 2022, 2023, all I heard about was how Microsoft is coming for Palantir's lunch, how Microsoft Fabric is going to evaporate Palantir's business, how Microsoft Fabric this, Microsoft Fabric that, and how Microsoft is just too strong and the Palantir people are delusional to think that Palantir could ever compete with Microsoft. All this talk about Fabric, all this talk about how Microsoft is basically a behemoth and they don't really play fair. And all of it is true, but here's the thing. Yesterday, we got an announcement that the Microsoft Cloud, Azure, or Azure, whatever the hell you want to call it, which is the fastest growing cloud services in the world right now. They may not be as big as AWS, but they're coming literally for AWS's lunch, and that's happening because they're growing way faster. So the Microsoft Cloud is now going to collaborate with Palantir. So now Palantir is going to be embedded in the cloud services that Microsoft provides. Now, let me explain this to you. This is literally we can't buy them since Peter Thiel isn't an idiot and is not going to sell. We cannot beat them because they have such a superior product that even we cannot lean on our clients to take an inferior one and compensate them in other ways, because it's literally going to drive them out of business not to have Palantir. The only remaining option is to team up with Palantir. There's no other choices. Believe me, if Microsoft had any other option but to partner with Palantir, they would have gone for that option. Going for this partnership is basically a white flag for Microsoft saying we cannot compete with these guys. And yes, they are the next Microsoft. In fact, when I see people calling for, well, shouldn't Microsoft just buy Palantir? $90, $100 per share, and we can all make a lot of money. Stop it. Stop it. You're being idiots. You're being idiots. You're literally calling for Blockbuster to buy Netflix at 50 million. Stop it. In 10, 15 years, Palantir is going to be bigger than Microsoft. They might end up buying Microsoft. Microsoft is Blockbuster. These guys are Netflix. It's just the early stages. Which brings me to my next point. Is this too late to buy Palantir? Listen, don't listen to me. You know what? Listen to Peter Lynch. Peter Lynch told you this multiple times, and he's definitely one guy you want to listen to. It's never too late to invest in a good company, especially one that is definitely in the early stages of its life cycle. Now, let's talk a little bit about Palantir, the overall market, what just happened. I have so many notes. We can cover everything through this video. Woo! So, let's start with uh, the first and the foremost thing that I want to talk about here today. On Monday, when the Japanese carrier trade was unwinding and everybody was screaming, running around like headless chickens, my community has literally done nothing but hold their positions and add a little bit more through dollar cost averaging, buying the dip and saying thank you. It's all. That's the only thing we've done. And if you are a part of this community, then you've done the same thing because we've pounded this issue multiple times. I have made literally 57,000 videos since Monday telling you, hold the line. Don't be fooled by this craziness. Just keep on dollar cost averaging into your stocks. Stop it. Don't panic. Now, if you're not part of the community, it's a good time to subscribe, to hit that bell so you can get notified when I actually post stuff, and join the Discord. Discord.gg/TomNash. It's, by the way, it's free to join, so why not? We just crossed 16,000 members on our Discord, and it's growing like crazy at about 1,000 per month at this point, which is insane. Now, those of you who want to join the academy is currently closed, and it's not going to be open until I'm back from my vacation in September, so you cannot join the academy. Academy spots are now not available until September. It is what it is. Now, once September hits, I'll go back home. I go back to normal. We will open up a few academy spots. Meanwhile, you can just join the regular Patreon membership and then upgrade once the academy spots open up. I promise I'm going to give a priority in the spaces availability to those who are already existing Patreon members that want to upgrade versus the new join. So if you want to join right now and get a priority in your academy spot, go ahead and do it. Now, how did we go from the worst day that we've seen in a while on Monday to what happened yesterday? Yesterday, we had the best day of the year in the stock market. All this just happened in 4 days. Well, just so you know, this sort of thing happens a lot more often than you think. 78% of the best days in a year happen after a few red days. It's absolutely insane. A red wave is 78% of the time ahead of the best day of the market. So think about it. It makes also perfect sense. When the market overreacts and oversells, like people have done on Monday, what happens next? The market corrects upwards. That's why we have best days after bad days. Now, Japan, overreaction. Warren Buffett selling Apple, overreaction. The jobs numbers, overreaction. All of this corrected. If you sold, you got punished. Simple as that. Now, I've talked about it multiple times before. If for the past 20 years, you've missed the top 10 days, 10 days in 20 years, your return was slashed by 50%. Now, a lot of people say, well, Tom, what if we miss the worst 10 days? Well, of course, it's going to double your returns, but there's no way for you to miss the worst 10 days. There's no way to time the market. There's absolutely no way you can guarantee missing the worst 10 days of the past 20 years or the next 20 years. It's impossible. There's no way to do it. Theoretically, yes, but it is not possible. But there is a surefire way, 100% way to guarantee you're not going to miss the best 10 days of the next 20 years, which is staying invested. And last week is the perfect proof that time in the market is worth every single penny of your investment. Our community literally sold $0 of shares, and we just bought the dip. When they panic, we say thank you and follow the training we have, which is buy the dip quietly, slowly, DCA, and do nothing but watch the mayhem, eat some popcorn. Another reason to join the community if you haven't yet, by the way. And yesterday is kind of proof that you never know when the best days come. You never know. Who would have thought that yesterday would be the best day of the year? Nobody. Nobody. This is why staying invested is so important in this market. Even when you see massive declines, even if you see all this blood on the street, the media is screaming at you. Think about this sentence. Buying shares is always a good move if you're buying good companies. Buying shares when there's blood on the street is even better, even if that blood is yours. And it's 100% true. There's always going to be reasons to sell, folks. Always, always, and always crashes, always madness. There's always going to be some crap going on somewhere in the world that's going to cause you to sell. Now, I'm going to reiterate what I said a few days ago on our Discord server. And I said, look, guys, August is going to be volatile. It might be a completely sideways month. The opportunities are most likely ahead in November, December, maybe October. August and September are not expected to be great months. They're going to be extremely volatile, which means this volatility isn't a good time to start loading up the boat. And it's just the same as I've been saying before. Just DCA slowly because August might be volatile. We might see more red, more green. Nobody knows. Slow down. August is historically a very problematic month for the stocks. Now, we heard JP Morgan said that 75% of the Japanese carry trade has now been unwound, which is good. I mean, it was overreaction anyways, but now it's over. They also said there's a 35% chance of a recession, which people took as a bearish sign for some reason, although I just don't see how, because they literally said there's a 65% chance there's not going to be a recession. So how is this bearish for some people? They literally, 51% is bigger than 49 and 65 is bigger than 35. So JP Morgan just said most likely we're not going to have a recession. So I don't see how this is a bearish. Now let's talk about what to do next. What's the strategy, what we've learned here, and how to handle these sort of events better. Look, I think if you build good habits, you do better in this market. I'll explain. If you sold out of panic and you've made some money once, twice, you're going to keep doing this, and then 8 out of 10 times, you're going to get hammered. So you're building bad habits if you're doing this. But if you just remain calm and you weather the storm, whether in that specific time you've lost money or made money, you're building a habit of not selling into panic, which is the number one habit to have as a long-term investor. And remember, there's always some crisis going on somewhere in the world. There's always some expert telling you this is the perfect time to sell. There's always some indicator pointing out that this is the time where the thing is going to collapse. The same rule, this rule, the XYZ rule, is going to be some crap telling you it's the right time to sell. Market crashes happen all the time, but the long-term effects are always up. Market never goes down long term, despite all these crashes, despite all this insanity. If you pick good stocks and you hold, you have a 100% success rate. That's it. You pick good stocks and you hold for a long term, you have a 100% success rate. How is that? How is anything better than that? I just don't understand that. If you jump in and out, you're going to be broke very fast. I promise you that. Don't forget, the cost of timing the market is insanely high. I just gave you that example. 10 days in 20 years, you miss the best 10 days, 50%. The cost is too high to jump in and out. Now, of course, it's all about understanding what you are in this market. Maybe you're a trader. Maybe you're an investor, but you got to decide. It's like saying, well, I'm going to compete in the Olympics. Great. What your sport? Well, if your sport is running a marathon, that your strategy basically should be applicable to surviving a 4-hour race. If your sport is the 100-meter dash, well, you got to run the fastest in about 9 seconds, 10 seconds. These are completely different sports with completely different strategies, completely different training, completely different habits, completely different psychological and physiological compositions. If you come in to the 100-yard dash as a marathonist, you're going to get destroyed, and vice versa. If a 100-meter dash guy tries to run a marathon, he's going to get hammered. So understand what you are, make a decision, and then follow the strategy that applies to what you are. If you're an investor, invest long term. If you're a trader, trade. But one warning for those who want to trade. I know some traders who make a lot of money in this market, and they're doing quite well. But I tell you this, those folks that I'm talking about are obsessed. All they do is research, All they do is watch the market. All they do is trade, trade, trade. All they do is be obsessed about this. They're full-time traders. If you're not a full-time trader and if you're not fully dedicated to this craft and you think you can just half-ass it and beat these guys, well, it ain't gonna happen, folks. It's not. The only way to invest as somebody who doesn't have a full-time commitment to this is long-term. Pick good companies, invest in the long term. That is it. Now, again, I'm going to say it again. Join the Discord, discord.gg/TomNash. We have a big community. It's free to join. We'll help you understand what's the right way, what's the wrong way, how to build a strategy that fits you better. The community is insanely good, insanely valuable. Every investor needs this community in their toolbox, believe me. And in September, you can consider joining the academy, but that's besides the point. We have plenty of students. I'm not really actively trying to recruit more. It's all good. If this video was helpful for you, share it with folks that might have some difficulty in the market that needs to see this. Share this information. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.